Game of Thrones Season 8 spoiler discussion, Episode 1, Winterfell. Messed up the words there, but hey, we are all here. I am Bo Oliver, joined by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and Marissa. First Game of Thrones video of the season, the Big Three, minus Manny. Manny, he's on retainer.
I forgot about Manny.
Yeah.
How pissed is Teddy going to be when he hears that you labeled us the Big Three?
Well, we're the Game of Thrones Big Three.
Yeah.
We're the Qyburn, Cersei, and the Mountain of Nerd Soup.
Okay.
We got a lot of hate on one of the videos for that.
Why?
They're like, these kids claim to read the books, and they named Qyburn, Cersei, and the Mountain the Big Three.
Come on.
So now I'm sticking with it. That's the Big Three.
That's the way. That's.
And yeah, we're here today to do an extended discussion on Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 1, Winterfell. Obviously, we had our review, but here we can get into more of a free-flowing discussion and talk about theories and ideas, and because this felt like a prologue for Season 8.
No, it's nice to delve deeper into the episode. I felt like on the review, I could have done a little better. I was mentally drained and physically.
You guys did that right after?
Yeah, no, it was just a long day. Islanders, taxes, Tiger Woods, and that. I should have been better, but a man can only admit when he's wrong and ask for forgiveness. Actually, no, can't even use that line anymore because Lord Glover ruined that line, but should be fun. Where else can they find us?
You can find us on iTunes at the Nerd Soup Podcast, and Spotify and SoundCloud at the Nerd Soup Podcast. And you can send in fan questions, Game of Thrones fan questions, to nerdsoupforyou@gmail.com. And you can follow us on Twitter at nerdsoupforyou, nerdsoupmonkey. Marissa is on, you have a Napster account.
Yep.
Find her on there, stream her playlist. And yeah, let's just get right into the episode. I think what I want to do is we usually start in the beginning. Let's start at the end.
Whoa.
Well, not the very end.
That's crazy, man.
The scene before the end. The Night King. The Night King making his presence felt in this episode, and he doesn't appear. But his symbol is there. And there have been a lot of theories going around on the internet that the symbol, which we've seen before, I think we see it in the very first episode of the show. It's also the makeup of the trees in the scene where the children of the forest create the Night King. Why are you shaking your head?
I'm agreeing.
Oh, you were going no.
Oh, no.
You were sending me no.
Sorry.
What do you guys think about that symbol? Does it mean anything, or is it just his?
It's his sigil.
It's his logo stitched on his clothes.
I guess they don't have banner makers in the land of always winter, so you got to get a little creative. People were saying, and I noticed this a little too. It kind of looks like the Targaryen logo, just that same circular motion with the dragon. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it is a little similar. I'm not saying like maybe there's some distant, unknown relationship between the Targaryens and the Night King, but yeah, it's interesting to keep in mind. But yeah, like we were saying on the review, he wasn't in the scene, but it just played so much to his character. Like we were talking about how when the wildlings came across and Mance Rayder says, "Always the artist," like he knows what he's doing. It's a psychological warfare move, and it's easy to look at them as just mindless killers with like no motivation, but that's a clear telltale sign. Like he knows what he's doing and he's trying to send a message. He's trying to get in your head, and there's more to them than what meets the eye.
And I think that's interesting. Even after he breached the wall, he's still doing this because that's what the White Walkers were doing throughout all the seasons. People say, why did it take them so long to get to the wall? It's because they couldn't go past it. Now that they are past it, they're still playing these games. He knows that he's going to win. He feels that he is going to win. I don't know. What do you think, Marissa? Do you think that there's some underlining meaning to this symbol? Because the thing that I go to is the dragon glass. It was obviously obsidian. They believe it was created by dragon fire, but it could just be normal obsidian. I don't know. He does have it in his chest.
I think at minimum he wanted to freak him out, and that worked. I also think him leaving the symbol plays a lot into how this episode very closely mimics the first episode of the show in general.
Yeah.
So
good point.
It's like a poetic kind of thing. Like he leaves a symbol now, he left a symbol then, or someone he was in charge of left a symbol then. I don't know if that was confirmed Night King in the beginning.
No, it could have been one of his lieutenants.
It's foreboding. He's creating a sense of foreboding. As the audience, we know he's coming. We know the wall is broken, but not everyone else knows that. Or they don't expect anything to actually happen besides like a select few.
Even when he's the main villain of the series, they know how to hide him. And that's always been one of the strengths of the books and the show is that they don't show you the threat, and it makes it that much more scary. As for the connection to the first episode, that's also a good point because of the little girl from the first episode. That's the first thing that creeped me out in Game of Thrones, when he finds her on the tree, and then when she wakes up with the blue eyes. And poor Ned Umber, like we said in our review, you get named Ned, you're dead.
It's a death sentence is what it is. Yeah. It's the Sean Bean effect. That's so funny, too. And Teddy's like, I don't think Lyanna Mormont will die after what they did to Shireen. And lo and behold, it's another little kid going up in flames. But
that scream, too, man.
yeah, that was
just
haunting.
That got me.
going.
I wasn't expecting it.
It was
Because if you notice, he opens his eyes for about 10 seconds before he starts screaming when Tormund is speaking. And then it just comes out of nowhere. Iconic Game of Thrones horror.
Yeah,
moment.
and we don't really know Ned Umber, but I think it's just the innocence of innocent kid who really has no idea what's going on. He's kind of just lost in this new world that has come to Westeros, and he's just a casualty. And it's just
He was just
bitched
spared.
out by Sansa.
Yeah, like Jon literally just spared him.
Yeah.
And now he's dead.
He's
And
like,
his whole house, I guess, is dead. It seems like
Yeah,
House
the last
Umber
Hearth
is a
was completely destroyed.
I'll show them. I'll go back. I'll get these wagons. I'll get.
It
come
seemed
back
like
with the
such
wagons.
a.
Ned
At first,
Umber?
I thought it was such like a throwaway
You're
detail.
on to bigger and better things. That's not sad to joke about.
It's a fictional child.
I know.
When they mentioned him in the beginning, though, I didn't think anything was gonna come of it. I thought it was just here, show Sansa running Winterfell. I didn't think he was gonna come back in the end completely slaughtered.
Right, and I think that's what this episode did well, too, is that a lot of scenes led into other scenes, that things weren't just happening. It's another moment like with Sam and Daenerys. They didn't have to have a moment together. Sam could have found out about this from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But Daenerys telling him that his father and brother were killed by her hand leads him to try and convince Jon to commit treason. That when he tells Jon, you're actually Aegon Targaryen, you're the son of Rhaegar and Lyanna, would Daenerys give up her throne like you did for your people? And now it's putting doubt in Jon's head. And that's not a role that I expected Sam to play in this season.
I mean, we've seen all the theories and people theorizing, is Daenerys, will she be like her father and become the Mad Queen? We've took this journey with her. There are certainly moments you can point to, but overall, I think she's a good-hearted person who just wants to do the right thing. But we've seen now with Tyrion, when she burned Dickon and Randall alive, he gives her that look, he advises against it, she goes against it. And now you have Sam learning about what she did. And it puts into question these big players that have questions in their mind. Add Sansa to that list, and you have people that might start doubting her rule. Put the little cherry on top, Jon is also the rightful king. So this is, and we talked about it in the review, I don't want to see this conflict, And rewatching the episode, and that could be a very big part of this season.
Do you think it's her Robb moment?
In what way?
Robb killing Karstark? It felt similar to me. When it came up again, it reminded me of when Robb had killed Karstark.
And I kind of criticized that, that little,
it could be
back and forth, but if it's all this, and it kind of makes sense, so I'm kind of leaning away from that take.
Well, I don't want the conflict between Sansa and Daenerys because...
No, but when you add in all
I'm talking about Sansa and Jon, you can have conflict
Yeah.
because there's a reason for it now.
Add in all these different factors, and she has the Targaryen name, and she has made some questionable decisions, and people around her know these decisions she made. It's easy for them to believe that she might not have the best intentions. And we talked about it too, her reluctance to give away her throne. It's something that's built in her character, that she is the rightful queen. I don't think it's going to be as easy as Jon is the rightful king. I'm not going to give up all I've worked for. As much as I want to succeed and defeat the Night King and do what's best for the realm, this is still something that I hold near and dear to my heart, and I'm not going to let anyone get in between it. I don't care if it's Jon, I don't care if it's Tyrion, Jorah, who knows?
Yeah, she's built her identity around it, becoming the rightful queen, especially after, when she was pregnant, it was her son who was going to be the king of the Seven Realms, and then she lost her son, and she lost Drogo, so now it's her thing, and she has to be the one to fulfill it. I don't fault her for wanting to keep that. It's been something she's been working for and she's suffered for so long. But I also understand the other side of the conflict. I also get where Sam's coming from with it.
Yeah, it adds a new perspective because in season 4 or season 5, when she asserts that dominance and she proclaims, I am the last Targaryen, I am the rightful queen, those are moments you get behind her. You're like, yes, you are. And you support her. And now she's doing that same thing, but with the perspective of other characters that might not necessarily agree and characters that we like too. It's not like she's going against these evil enemies. It's people that we like.
Yeah, they're all dead because we watched for 5 seasons these people destroy Westeros, and then there was somebody on the other side of the world freeing people, breaking people out of their chains. She was built up to be the hero. Now she's become almost like Stannis Baratheon, where she's losing herself in her ambition, where it started out as a noble cause. I'll take back the chair that was stolen from my family, take back the throne. But I think the writing for the character has been a little inconsistent, where she has moments where she's that classic charming Daenerys, and then she becomes completely antagonistic out of nowhere with that moment with Sansa. But I'll tell you what, there's moments in season 3 and 4 where she's talking to adversaries, and she's not like that. She still has that charm. She has the edge to her, where she can play the back and forth. But there are moments here where that one line that keeps bothering me is the one that she says to Sansa about the dragons. It's, listen, they're obviously
Targaryen
upset.
in her, you know? And
yeah, but she hasn't been like that in the past.
But she views Sansa and Jon as almost equals. Like, these are her people that she means to rule.
I do think that was the wrong thing to say there.
Right,
because
she's got to know. Like, in this
Sansa-
moment, you're Daenerys Targaryen, you're the most powerful person in the room. You don't need to defend yourself.
And just quick, because I can't let that slide. Robb Stark was a little different.
I know, but
You can't.
the vibe.
He
it's
did
like
it for honor. Karstark killed little kids. You know, Rickon and Dickon just didn't
But
bend a knee.
similarly, like, people told him that he shouldn't kill them, and people
Yeah.
told Daenerys she shouldn't kill the Tarleys, and she did, and now it's like a consequence
I
that she
know.
has to
Yeah,
deal
Robb's
with.
decision
But
was much dumber.
Robb's more just and, you know, the honor-bound baby that he is.
He's more Tully than Stark. That's his problem.
No, I'm just joking. I just had to defend Robb. But yeah, it's definitely a moment that could be a catalyst for the divide between Jon and Daenerys, especially with Sam having this outlook, because that scene actually, that hit me pretty hard. And it wasn't Dick, what a fucking name of... It wasn't Randall. It was obviously Dickon. And just, even though we didn't know Dickon, like I mentioned, just Sam's reaction and to see him like that was very... tugged on the old heartstrings.
Somebody made a point that Sam is probably the most good character in the show, because the fact that he even showed moment of sadness for that man.
For Randall, too,
Tarly,
yeah.
He can still mourn for somebody that hated him his entire life. That is, it's still his father. And that moment where he reveals to Jon his true identity, some people were making the case, some people claim that scene was kind of anticlimactic. I don't know how else you're going to do that, because Sam and Bran, they figured it out. So somebody has to tell Jon, and I said it on the review too. The story is convincing once you think about it.
I do like that Sam told Jon in the crypt, and you can see like Ned's statue behind him, and then Lyanna. Again, with the parallels to the first episode, Ned and Robert are in the crypt when Ned is like, hey, I want you to be the hand, like my new hand of the king. And it's not a responsibility that Ned wants, and Jon also does not want to be king.
It's probably like, can you guys stop? Can't you see
Everybody
I don't
stop.
want this? And it's kind of like Sam.
Hey, Jon, you know you're the old god of the forest?
God. I just want to retire, man.
I just want to go back to the Sansa thing real quick, because I think her concern about the army and feeding the army is very valid, especially because it's the beginning of winter.
It's funny because Daenerys had the same concern last season. And now she's all like, well, we'll figure it out.
Speaking of eating, I know this is ridiculous, and I know he does eat, but I feel like Bran doesn't eat. I feel like he just like photosynthesizes somehow. Like he unlocked that with his green singing abilities.
He just feeds off of the trees.
Yeah, I don't know. He just seems like someone who probably doesn't eat or drink water anymore. He just...
No, he's like the girl from Get Out that's eating cereal and drinking the milk.
Oh.
Bran's become a full-on sicko.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he was my favorite part of the episode. I think Bran and Sansa, because Sansa, I think she's really found her footing with this character. The point that she made up, the point that she brought up about feeding the army, it is a valid point. But Bran, too, because they did give him a little bit of personality, and that's all you need with him. Give me a smile when he sees Jon. It's almost like the personality of Bran Stark is trying to escape. It's creeping in again, and then he has to suppress it because he knows there are more pressing matters. And when he spazzes out on Daenerys, when he gives that look to Tyrion, there were so many moments with Bran where you're thinking, what does he know? He knows everything, but what is he going to reveal? And the moment is with Tyrion. Tyrion did something. He saw that scene. You know when that scene cuts off with Tyrion and Cersei at the end of season 7? Bran was still watching.
I like how he's funny this season. It's like...
He's cracking jokes.
I don't know if it's
the
like...
humor is very dry.
Yeah.
He really just was in the same place the whole time.
He didn't move. New theory. Does Bran Stark eat? Right after the hats and...
I'm actually already working on that.
Yeah.
That's coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
Right after Hats and Harnesses.
Yes.
Why Game of Thrones has lost its way. Do you think Tyrion... What did Tyrion do here? Him and Varys, I think, were in on it. Or he told Varys. Because there's no way that that's not a throwaway moment where he looks down and sees Bran, oh, creepy kid. No, it's because Bran...
I'm interested to know what Tyrion, does he believe when he's telling other people that Cersei's army is going to come?
No, I think I said on the review, I think he knows she's not coming, and he's lying.
Well, Sansa calls him out on that. Like, you know Cersei, I know Cersei.
That's the thing. He's not giving the impression. He sounds like he genuinely believes that Cersei's coming.
And
maybe he's just that good of a liar.
I wouldn't put it past him to believe it either, because, like, again, Cersei's one of her defining, I guess, traits is how much she loved her children, and the loss of them really made her kind of like spin out. So if he believes that she's pregnant and that she's still the same person who would do anything for her children, it wouldn't be completely far-fetched for him to think that maybe she would send up her army, but we know that she's not, so...
Well, he says the line that she has something to live for.
Well, and he said it in the past seasons, too. I forgot what season or what moment. It's like, say what you will about Cersei, but she does love her children.
Her one redeeming quality, that and her cheekbones.
Yep.
He says it too, Cersei. So...
and also just... Maybe Bran agrees with Tyrion. Maybe he knows, like,
that's
what
a good point, yeah.
Like, he didn't, like, outwardly say, hey, by the way, Daenerys, Jon, Tyrion's cooking something up. So if he did see something, he'll probably be like, yeah, that works. That's a good idea.
I'm starting to think, too, the moment with Jaime at the end, it was obviously played for laughs in a way. Jaime's looking at the kid that he pushed out of a window.
The memes were.
No, but it's not played for laughs, but it's played for shock.
Yeah.
There's going to be consequences for his action. But I think it's Bran knowing how important Jaime could be that he's going to defend him.
I saw that scene, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me before then that Jaime and Bran might cross paths again.
Well, there's so many reunions, and I think that's what the show did well. I enjoyed a lot of the reunions in the show. People kept making the claim that they were anticlimactic, that they lacked weight.
I think there was no way to do them completely the way everyone wanted.
Exactly.
No,
they're in the same place, and they see each other.
Yeah. People are going to react to different moments, just the way they... just the way they envisioned it in their head all these years.
Look at the goodbyes. The goodbyes were very small.
Yeah.
I mean, how many scenes did Jon and Robb have in season 1? 2 or 3? But that goodbye is a scene that I always go back and watch. Mm-hmm. It's like, next time I see you, you'll be in all black. It was always my color. Perfect. And the reunion, Jon and Arya, was great as well. But I do think Bran there's going to be a moment where Jaime is standing in front of Jon and Daenerys and Sansa and Tyrion, and there's a moment where there's an awkward pause where Bran can come out and say, he wasn't the one who pushed me. He just lies for the sake of Jaime.
You ever hear the theory that, like, the three-eyed raven wards Jaime?
I don't like that theory.
Yeah.
That he warred into Jaime to push Bran out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy destiny playing a part in Game of Thrones, that some characters are born into the world and there is a path for them. There's a predetermined path. I think that was just part of Bran's path.
Yeah.
He loses something and he gains. It's almost like a daredevil. It's just an accident that heightened his abilities. And I guess we'll never know if he would have become that strong if that accident didn't happen. Maybe. I like the three-eyed raven theory. I also hate the Bran warging into the Mad King theory.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
Burn them all. Stupid.
Hold the door. Well, I don't know.
Snow. That's for you book readers.
And I guess going back to like Tyrion, that scene when they're in the hall of Winterfell and they're, you have Lyanna Mormont obviously questioning Jon's decision to bend the knee to Daenerys. And even Tyrion, the way he says, I guess he's saying the way he said the Lannister army is coming, he kind of says it like knowing the reaction he'll get. I don't know. I think maybe you could see that as like he's not as confident when he's saying it, but I think he just knew the reaction from the North. Because once he says it, they all start going, not the Lannisters. I hate those guys.
Oh, no.
I don't like them.
I don't like Jaime. He's not yellowheads.
And then Jaime rolls up, not blonde.
He says, I just got hair club for men, boy. Nobody's recognizing. Oh, my God, that's Bran.
Yeah. There's a lot in that scene, I guess, to unpack. Just obviously, Lady Mormont speaking out, Tyrion speaking on Jon's behalf. The Northerners are hesitant, and I guess Sansa and Daenerys. I guess it just goes into the dynamics. They make a good point. Like, what is Jon right now? He's not king. He's not...
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I do think Daenerys... I do think Daenerys' like low-key threat to kill Sansa if she doesn't start respecting her was a bit much. Sansa has effectively bent the knee. She's providing everything that the army could need at this possible moment. She's not, maybe like that we know of, planning a rebellion. They're not trying to overthrow Daenerys. She is going along with everything the way Jon wants her to. And Daenerys is like, well, if she doesn't start liking me.
What do they eat? Redheads.
And Jon later in the episode, it's like, she never really liked me either.
That was a good line.
Yeah.
Growing up, she didn't like me. But you think that Daenerys would have some sort of... It seems that Arya enjoys Daenerys more so than Sansa. And obviously Arya is staying away from the politics. Arya says that Sansa's the smartest person that she's ever met. She's trying to protect our family. And Jon is almost like, I'm part of the family too, right?
She parallels Sansa parallels Cersei a bit in that way, protecting the family.
Mm-hmm.
But it also really made me wish that Arya and Sansa's storyline for season 7 wasn't so convoluted, because I want to, yes, the endgame, they did kill Littlefinger, and apparently we were supposed to assume that they've been working on this the whole time, but it was just played out so terribly.
So you don't believe Arya when she says...
No, I do, and
okay.
I want to. I just wish that season 7 had done a better job of showing that to us.
Yes.
Because, like, she has moments in season 6, like the Battle of the Bastards, when she gets the Knights of the Vale to come in. That's the reason why they won the Battle of the Bastards.
Right. And she's playing that close to the chest, too, where she's not telling Jon about Littlefinger. She's making sure that she still has that card to play. That's been one of the problems of the show, is that characters just suddenly become what George has been building them up to be. Because that's the theme of George's writing. He tears these characters down and he builds them up to adapt to this world. Sansa was supposed to be Littlefinger's monster, the one who defeats Littlefinger because he taught her how to play the game. But suddenly, she's become the smartest character in the show, which is cool. But like you said, they didn't really develop it. It's the same thing with Bran. He goes from season 6, he's still that immature kid that's not listening to the Three-Eyed Raven. Season 7, he has no personality. Instantly, there's instant changes to these characters.
From what I remember about, because I haven't seen old episodes with the old Three-Eyed Raven in a while, but was the old Three-Eyed Raven as emotionally, like, cold?
Detached? Yeah, no. He's more like, actually, Bran is starting to become more like Blood Raven this season.
Because I wonder, like, obviously he just got these powers. I'm sure it's overwhelming just suddenly knowing everything, but...
Well, the emotion that he showed here is when he starts yelling at everybody. When he's like, there's no time for this, speaking for the audience.
Well, I said before, like,
he never did that in season 7.
No, but like on one of our, I forgot what video it was. The actor that portrayed Three-Eyed Raven, he had his voice is just, it's very like charismatic. Just
the past is already written.
it's like
the ink is dry.
He just sounds like a wise master, all knowing. Like that's just him.
Just turned 90, Max von Sydow. Shout out.
And that's like the character. We never knew anyone else besides that. Well, except for the actor who played him before that. Right. But Bran, we've seen him just full of life, full of wonder. We've taken this journey with him since he was climbing around until he was stuck in bed, and he was just learning how to reinvent himself and just adapt to his situation. And we've seen him in so many different scenarios. Now, when he's just this very stoic kind of one-note character, it's a little jarring.
Yes, it is. And I think the same thing with Daenerys, too. That one line just keeps bothering me. Like you said, it's a threat. She basically said, I'll murder you.
I know, like, they got interrupted.
I'll murder you because you're concerned about feeding my army.
They get interrupted, but Jon doesn't say anything.
Right. Well, they position Jon in the middle, and then obviously...
Yeah, but, I mean, come on. Like, she just threatened to kill your sister.
It's just... Girls being girls, you know?
Oh, my God.
Like guys being dudes, you know? Just, you threaten to kill each other once in a while. It's all fun.
Men are known to brawl every once in a while.
Yeah, it's just, it's a nice little check. Like, hey, you see the dragons? Hard to miss.
Yeah, no, I didn't see them fly over my head.
No.
It's literally like bringing your kid to somebody's house, bringing 10 kids, be like, I made food for 4. It's like, well, it's inconsiderate. Well, I guess let's go to the moment, too, where Jon and Daenerys go for their joyride. Obviously, I voiced my frustration, and you can watch
I thought the scene was corny.
You know what? I
kind of liked the corniness.
It was corny, yeah.
I enjoyed the scene. I just thought it was corny. And it did, I don't know about you guys, it felt a little bit out of place to me. I also, like everyone, I've seen a lot on the internet and stuff about people expecting a bit more from Jon's first time riding a dragon, and so did I.
Did they see the boat scene last season?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
2 times a charm.
Hey.
But
I don't care what anyone says about you. You're pretty funny.
I'm funny on the pod.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Jon riding the dragon for the second time.
It should have been. That's a moment I had circled on my calendar. Like, get some tissues ready.
Just every day on the calendar. It could happen.
Yeah. Get the tissues ready. It's going to be an emotional moment.
But it was underwhelming for you.
Yeah, I just thought, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. It seemed like very lighthearted in a way that did not fit with the episode and the stakes that they were setting up.
Well, somebody wrote on Twitter, it was like, Cersei's worried about having sex, Jon and Daenerys are going on dates, Night King's taking this in 4. It's, the apocalypse is pending,
but I kind of...
And it also doesn't solve the problem of the dragons not having any food.
Well, I like that too, that line, because that was discussed in Fire and Blood. I forget the queen, that she flies her dragons north of the wall, and the dragons are terrified of the north, and they want to leave right away. So she was saying that the dragons don't like the north because they probably sense the presence of the White Walkers, obviously. They're like dogs when the dogs can sense a storm coming. And also the theory about the cave, which was a callback to Ygritte and Jon, but people are now saying we can stay here for 1,000 years, Night King and Night Queen.
I don't know.
I don't know. I felt like not Cersei. I felt like Daenerys saying, "Oh, we could just stay here for 1,000 years," didn't make sense to me as like something she would say.
But it was nice to see her happy, like a moment of like peace, comedic moments. But Jon riding Rhaegal should have been more of a moment, and I didn't feel like it was at all. I kind of liked it was a little cheesy. Like she's happy, they're happy. You know, the kids are watching nephew Jon kiss
Somebody
their
wrote, "I'm
mom.
not calling him daddy."
Yeah, it's like you shouldn't make them watch. It's kind of weird, Danny.
Quick question about the dragons. Have they? I think they've said that only Targaryens can ride dragons.
D&D said that, I think, in the behind the scenes.
So
Yeah.
is there a difference between people with like Valyrian blood, I guess, and then Targaryens? Are Targaryens the only people with Valyrian blood in Westeros?
The theory was that the Valyrians used to wed sister and brother to keep the bloodlines pure. That was about keeping a connection to dragons, because they say dragons are fire-made flesh, and that Targaryens are magical, or Valyrians are magical creatures, that they have some sort of connection. Obviously, they're not immune to fire in the books, but they can withstand great heats. It's similar to the Starks. There's a line about how Ned Stark can sleep naked in Winterfell in the dead middle of winter.
Well, they have
That's not
hot springs run through the walls or something.
right. Yeah.
But I think it's Dance of Dragons. I don't know. As long as, like, obviously, as long as there's a Targaryen with them, we've seen. I think there's a bastard.
With Daenerys and all the people on the back.
Yeah, and when I think in the Dance of Dragons, there's a bastard who rides a dragon. I think she might have some Valyrian blood. I'm not too keen on that aspect of it, but it's
It almost feels like an Avatar moment.
Yeah,
where you have to connect the tail to the flying beast.
I was just like, Daenerys is so nonchalant. It's like, how do I fly this? Like, yeah, you'll figure it out.
Beats me.
It's like, oh, it's nice knowing you, John. Like, yeah, Daenerys, it's actually a really good possibility. He falls off and dies.
I'll tell you what, though, that shot was stunning when it's behind Daenerys and it pans to Jon flying away and she's watching it. It's really cool. Somebody said her reaction was almost underwhelming as well.
Yeah, because
that
like
she
I wonder.
Should have been scared for Jon.
But also, like him being able to ride the dragon, does she think like he has to be a Targaryen in order to ride the dragon, or is she just like?
Well, they hinted
or
that.
Or it's like, is he able to ride the dragon because she's there? Is that like what she's thinking?
Right. Well, they had the moment in season 7 where Jon and Drogon embrace, and people were saying that he senses.
And she was shocked there.
Yes. Yeah, she was shocked there, but then she doesn't bring that up. You would think that they would expand upon that in this moment. I do like the theory that the Valyrians were interbreeding to keep the connection with dragons, because you hear stories about old Valyria. Those dudes were like cats, the dragons. I mean, it was every family, even the lesser houses. The Targaryen house wasn't a powerful house, but they had dragons. And then they brought them to Westeros where there's no dragons, and then you become top dog. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that that's why the dragons can sense the Valyrian blood inside of Jon. And that leaves him and Daenerys as the two remaining Targaryens. Bran's got to be the third dragon rider inside of Viserion.
But like, what level? I'm just thinking too out loud. Like, technically, so Gendry would have Valyrian blood just because his bloodline with Baratheon, Targaryen. Like,
well, I think if you keep diluting it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, how much do you need? What's the
right,
metachlorian level that you need to?
John's is off the charts, apparently. You saw George Lucas on set.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he doing there? That's the wrong George. I always go back to this, too. The White Walkers have to get a dragon in the books, right? That's got to be a book thing. There's no way that the showrunners made that up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people theorize that there's an ice dragon or stuff like that, so...
It's going to be Bran to get inside of Viserion. I guess you lose. That doesn't matter.
You're talking about the 3 riders?
Yeah, the 3 riders. It doesn't matter because the dragon's dead. It's just a zombie at this point.
Yeah, I'm
sure. So there's no connection that has to be made.
Well, even with Bran, you don't know where his green seeing abilities, the extent of them, so... Even if it was just Rhaegal.
He's got to get in one of those fucking dragons. Seeing those eyes go milky white, Drogon's eyes, that would be so cool.
A completely unrelated question. I haven't read the book, so the Golden Company, like the significance, kind of means nothing to me.
Oh, the comment.
Is what...
She's just kidding. She's read the book.
Is what the Golden Company, like, did it live up to what you expected of it?
It did, because made that joke about the elephants.
Yeah.
To me, that's been one of the funniest memes going around. And they put it on Cersei, so now everybody thinks Cersei's obsessed with elephants. Because in the books, the Golden Company, they're known to have war elephants, like in the Lord of the Rings. So we were all expecting that. I said it in the video. I was like, what if the Night King resurrects them and he puts his giants on the elephants?
Those are giants riding elephants out there.
The Golden Company hasn't done anything in the books anyway. It's more of the history.
I didn't know like what they'd done in the books and like what people expected from them in
It's the history
show.
mostly.
Okay.
Because there's a character in the show, Young Griff. Have you heard about this? He claims to be Rhaegar Targaryen's son.
Oh,
that
yeah,
he
yeah.
survived the sack of King's Landing, but he's really, people think he's a Blackfire. And the Golden Company were founded by Aegor Rivers, known as Bittersteel. And they fled to Essos after they lost the first Blackfire rebellion, and they became a sellsword company to make money. But they kept coming back to Westeros and getting, it's been like 5 Blackfire rebellions, and they never win. They're coming back one more time, Winds of Winter.
With war elephants.
Yeah, with the war elephants. So it's not a matter of living up to expectations. It's you kind of just have to accept that is not canon in the show.
Well,
It might be canon, but
with the Blackfires and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I'm Cersei. I'm asking for some money back. I bought the Golden Company with elephants, and now you come with no elephants. That's,
get a refund.
false advertising.
They got horses.
I also, about Cersei, I don't know. I didn't believe she was pregnant until this episode. Now I'm like, maybe she is. I was kind of still on the side of she's faking it.
What
Like
was your opinion on the scene with her and Euron?
I assumed that she was rebuffing Euron, and then she was just like, oh, wait, I'm pregnant. I need to have someone who could possibly be my kid's father. But it was also, like, when I listened to your guys' review, and I agreed with what Aaron said about it. It felt very, she was like, you need to earn a queen, but almost, like, immediately went back on that.
I wish it was more like...
Sex is cool, though.
Yeah, no, if it was like that, like, hey, I'm human, I'm lonely, I just basically drove away my only my
she
lover,
seemed
my brother.
very sad,
And
like,
I
telling
just-
Euron to show up.
And I sent Qyburn to go send Bronn to kill him. So it said maybe she just, like, I just hate Euron, I guess, too. And just the way that, like, the setup was, if it's just, like, they played it off a little better, like, oh, Cersei, she just wants to bang Euron. That's cool, good-looking guy, very charismatic in his own way. I could see that, but it just, I think, when I first saw it, it just came off like she was kind of giving in to him. Like, all right, whatever. Come, when I wanted her to be like, I'm the queen, you get in line, or you see the mountain.
She had that moment, too, and then
Yeah,
they
then
kind
she
of,
kinda
like,
went back on it.
Yeah.
But,
Euron belongs in Pirates of the Caribbean. He's not a Game of Thrones character. That's disappointing, because in the books, he's this really mysterious, badass character.
He kind of just creeps me out.
Yeah, he's just a creep kind of in the show.
Mhm.
And I like the actor, but once again, you don't have time because his role, I keep saying it, there's so many theories about what he's going to do in the books.
I mean, he's even more depraved in the books.
Yes, but it's not, he's charismatic in the books. In the show, he's goofy.
He's not really, I mean, that's from the Dan Fear point of view chapter. That chilled me to the bones. Like, when I thought of Euron in the books, I got, like, goosebumps. Like, this guy might be worse than, like, if he did what people, like, think he theorized he actually did, he's one of the most sickest individual who's ever walked this planet of Westeros. When I see Euron one, it's like, oh, yeah, can't wait to go bang the queen.
I want to fuck the queen.
It's like, oh, look, it's like, please, I feel like you don't love me. It's like, all right.
He's begging.
Yeah.
Dude was on his knees.
So, it's kind of the aftermath to that next scene when she's kind of like, immediately like, I wanted those elephants. It's like, yeah, Cersei just wanted to, I guess, let off a little, and she doesn't really care about Euron. She cares more about the elephants, and
The elephant's not in the room.
it just seems like, oh, it's like, you're very full of yourself. I like that. Like, it's just weird, because Cersei should only be able to allow to bang her brother.
That scene, too.
And Moonboy.
I kind
And
of.
Osmond Kettleback.
And
Well, not allowed, but it's like, that's my...
yeah, what?
No, I meant, like, in my head, like, I want her to be with Jamie. Like, and it's her brother. It's like, no, don't bang anyone else besides your brother.
Isn't it so funny how 8 seasons in, it's like incest doesn't even faze us? I was upset that Cersei was cheating on Jamie. So how dare you cheat on her?
It's just like, yeah, be with your brother.
Right.
What?
Well, even the incest, I wonder if they're going to bring that up with Jon.
Mm-hmm.
where Jon kind of stays away from Daenerys. That would be funny too if they played that where he doesn't want to tell Daenerys and the whole episode he's avoiding her. Like she's trying to tickle him or something. He's like, no, I can't do that.
They don't have time for that.
But Cersei
That's
is
like a spin-off.
She is emotional after that encounter, and the scene before that is Qyburn having Bronn, like, Cersei wants you to go kill.
Yeah, we spoke about this once. Let's just skip
her
this.
treasonous brothers.
It's very...
I saw that scene two different ways, and it's both... I'm still not completely sold on the fact that she might be pregnant. So I read that as, like, he's saying, I'll put a prince in your belly, and she's thinking, like, I'm already pregnant, and I did this because I need someone to feasibly think that he might be the father. But also, like, all her children are dead. She might not be pregnant, but just the idea of having another kid, that would be devastating.
Well, it's just like, too, like, she just sent Qyburn to send the father to his death. And I think she has a plan for Euron. Like, she's
Do you think
she's
Jaime
ready.
gets a hold of the
crossbow?
The crossbow and comes back.
Kills the Night King on the toilet.
But it's like, I think it's not like she wants, like, oh, I could pass this off as Euron's kid. I think she has a plan for Euron. Euron's not going to survive. If they do, in her mind, once they win, Euron's gone. I'm not marrying that guy. But then, like, she's thinking, like, well, the kid I have is Jaime's. I can't, there's no going back. Unless I think there still might be something else where I don't think Cersei would trust Bronn to do that. And
yeah, it seemed very like...
It helps that we're the audience and we've seen his adventures with Jaime and Tyrion and they build that connection. So we're like, hey, Bronn's not going to do that.
Yeah, I didn't for 1 second believe that Bronn is actually going to kill either of them.
No, me neither.
I think he might show up and then he'll be like, here you go.
Be like, you got a castle up north? I really thought Jerome Flynn and Lena Headey were going to be in the same scene.
I guess just strategically, you need a huge army to defeat the Night King, but also he can just resurrect all your dead soldiers. So I feel like having everyone in one place isn't great, but also how else do you do this? Like strategically, I don't know what options they realistically have.
Maybe it's something where when we see him resurrect everyone at Hardhome, he waits till the end. So it's maybe if they keep him occupied doing something else, maybe he has to keep control of Viserion, and Jon's coming at him, Daenerys is. He doesn't have time to resurrect. It kind of felt like he also wanted, like we said before, he's a showman. He wanted that moment, like, here, look what I could do, Jon. It's maybe they'll try to keep him occupied. Bran might try to mental battle him to keep him from resurrecting the fallen. Because you're right, because once like that first clash and like half your men die, and he rises it up, it's pretty much a wrap from there.
Well, one of the rumored titles for the episode is Exodus, and there's a promotional shot of Jon and Tyrion on a boat. So maybe they do go to the Iron Islands.
I'm just like really interested to see how the battle goes. Just because I don't know how they would fight it. When you have someone who could bring back all of your dead soldiers and then they're fighting against you, what do you do?
I think this is just going to be Hardhome times a million. It's just going to be another slaughter. We're going to see the loss of a lot of main characters.
Which is also why I think Cersei's whole, like, they'll kill each other. Like, then the Night King will bring them back.
Well, she doesn't. I guess.
I mean, she saw the white, but
right.
Again, like...
She doesn't know.
It's not like she doesn't know the scope.
She needs to see the Night King once.
That was awesome. I think that comment when, terrible news, Your Grace. The army of the dead has made it past the wall. She's like, good. I'm like, hell yeah.
Just her face, too.
Yeah.
She's such a diabolical woman. What did you think about the reunion between Arya and the Hound, Arya and Gendry?
I felt like that was the Hound's way of saying I missed you, and I loved it.
Because we were joking around in a review. It's like, I don't know. I knew that like that's the perfect way for them to reunite. But I kind of went like, Arya, Hound. It's like obviously it's not going to happen. But in my dumb brain, I'm like, yeah, that would be cool.
To me, it kind of very...
I'm so glad you're alive.
It like very, very slightly seemed like they were both almost smiling. But
the Hound does smile.
Yeah,
it's like a quirk.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, like that's what I needed from this.
Perfect.
Like obviously like they left on bad terms, but they also like were endeared to each other. So
it was at that very moment too where the Hound tells Brienne, I'm watching over her now. So like you said, they did form some sort of bond.
And he was like kind of proud of her when she left him to die. So
yes. Other than, yelling, kill me! No, but he says, you're a cold little bitch. That's probably why you're still alive. And that's all they need.
That's an amazing compliment from the Hound.
And I'm sure that they're not done with each other, that there's going to be a moment where maybe they're side by side in the battle. Back
I
to
hope
back.
so.
Back to back, ready to go.
That would be so clean.
And the Gendry, all the Arya,
Picks her up like Rocket and Bucky.
all the Arya reunions. One with Jon too. It gave you a glimpse back into that old Arya, and same with Gendry. I felt like in season 7 she was more like fresh off the Faceless Assassins, like she's a completely different character. She's not trusting Sansa, and here it's more of that old Arya that I think the fans adored from seasons 1 to 4.
Yeah, I don't mind Arya. I didn't mind Arya acting as a cold-hearted assassin.
No, not me neither. But it's good to see that.
I just hated how she got there.
It's good to see
awesome,
that
though.
old like personality come out, like
Yeah,
where
definitely.
she is still at her core. She loves Jon.
You made that point on the preview video we did for the Battle of Winterfell that she's embracing being a Stark.
Yeah, it's like she fell away from it, and then coming back to Winterfell, it's like she started embracing it again.
Well,
And-
with Jon, that's Arya.
Yeah,
That's season 1 Arya.
like she felt like a kid again, which
Yeah.
was great because we haven't seen that in so long.
That smile was...
She also hit Gendry with that mean spin move.
Ooh, yeah, she did a little shoulder turn.
And that also, again, felt like Arya, like when they were prisoners together. Like, it's not like their time together was, the circumstances were that great, but they had a good relationship. And now that she's older and everything, I don't know if this is confirmed or not. I feel like the actress said that Gendry was Arya's first love, or like she did love him.
Yeah, and Maisie Williams said Joe Dempsey's the sexiest man on the show. Young Christian Bale. It's one of those things that's not going to happen, but I do like that they had a reunion and they flirted with each other a bit. Maybe it will happen, but
What do you think that weapon is?
somebody said that it's like a fucking
like a
bow and arrow that if the Night King were to catch it, then she can like detach the dragon
I
glass.
couldn't like get a sense
spear.
of like scale.
well, that's sort of
No.
the dragon glass and the arrow towards the,
I've
the
seen,
head
like-
of the weapon.
I've seen like
Build
it's
this.
I've seen people saying like it's an arrow or it's a staff, and that drawing like I didn't see measurements, so
No,
it's not
no.
like
It's
we
like
know
the
how big it
blueprints
is.
for Bran's harness on the horse.
Yeah,
It just drew it up on the way there.
that's how they're gonna get the harness
Build
for the
this.
dragons. It looks like a spear that detaches, but they don't have. Do they have that
But
technology?
she was wielding it in one of the trailers.
Yeah.
No, it looks like it's not that it detaches like you can shoot it.
That's what it looked like.
No,
Like, they
it's
don't
like-
have that, do
No,
they?
it's like you can put it for extension.
Oh,
That it's like a dagger that you put it on top and it extends, but then you can, take it off as well if you want to wield it in close combat. So it's like a long sword dagger, close quarter. That's what I feel.
well, I guess she's comfortable with that type of weaponry. That's where she trained with.
That stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, something needle and that stick, the broomstick, with the waif.
and now she has that
Beating
dagger.
the crap out of each other with those broomsticks.
That was fucking.
That's how you
brutal.
become a faceless man.
Yeah, sweep for 12 hours a day and get hit by the same broomstick for the other 12. No
And-
sleep, no food.
And then wash those dead bodies.
Yeah, and go blind for like a few days.
Yeah.
No, like a month.
And get stabbed in the gut and live.
And go see a show while you're at it. Richard E. Grant was in that troupe.
Yes. Yeah, he's in there for like a second.
How did you
right?
watch him? Like, is that Richard E.
You
Grant?
came off very false.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You need this money? Richard? Something going on?
You're nominated for an Oscar. Get a bigger role.
I think he's going to be in episode 9 too, so he's
Yeah.
on the come up. Maybe that's why he got the role for the McCarthy movie.
Yeah.
They saw him. You rang very false. Ooh, he rang true there.
I'll admit, I forgot that Yara was captured. I forgot that she was captured, but I didn't mind how quickly they just wrapped that up.
No, a lot of people were saying that they were upset with that. No, I thought that was perfect. That's why I considered this episode to be like a prologue for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get everything out of the way. Let's tie up these loose ends and focus on what matters. Big Daddy Ice, Jon and Daenerys, a little bit of Bran, and some Tyrion.
And you forgot Cersei, but
She's another one too.
come on.
I've made the claim that she has had the most consistent arc. I hope they have something in store for her that is satisfying. That
They
she's
will.
not just crying over Jamie for these next couple of episodes.
No,
Because she's going to have no play. She has no role to play in episode 3, and it's going to be a huge episode.
Oh, you've seen it, so you know. Okay.
That's
All right.
I'm guessing that she has no role. What does she do in episode 3?
You'll
She
s-
comes
you'll
leading
see.
the Golden Company,
You'll see.
like the Knights of the Vale.
On an elephant. It's like, wait
On
a
a-
second. Yeah, the Theon stuff. Yara's going back to Iron Island. She'll take them. That could come into play, like you said. That is somewhere maybe they could retreat to across the sea. Theon going up. I think it's a good opportunity for him to fully redeem. I mean, he did that by saving Yara, something that he didn't do when Euron was in his face, and probably something that shamed him. he kind of redeemed himself in that regard. Now it's in his mind, he has to make amends with the Starks because that was his biggest betrayal.
Right, and he's an honorary Stark, according to Jon Snow. Why did Daenerys speak up and say, I named Jon Warden of the North? That was part of the deal.
What?
When he bent the knee.
I think Jon seceded that to Sansa. He introduces as a what?
Lady of Winterfell.
Lady of Winterfell.
He's so nice to everybody.
How many
There's
hints do
also
people
mean
need
to
that he
him.
doesn't want to lead?
Yeah.
He's not good at the politicking. Just
He was
say
like,
ooh, there's an army over there. Beat him for me.
He didn't want to lead at
He's
the
George
wall.
Washington.
Then he died, and he was like, I really don't want to lead. And now they're like,
wanna
congrats,
be
you're
king?"
king of the 7 realms.
What's next? It's like, yeah, you're God.
Yeah. You are.
You're Rolar, actually. It's like, what?
What's next is you're the Night King. If they fucking did that, I think that's very possible. And talk about, man, that would be such a bummer. That's why it would be. I had the idea if they had to like gag him and bound him to a tree, similar to the first Night King. Just one last F you to Jon Snow. Yep, you have to do this now. Live for 1,000 years.
In that waterfall.
All right, yeah, so that's our spoiler discussion for Episode 1, Season 8, Winterfell. We'll be back next week with another spoiler discussion. So, Aaron, Nerd Soup Monkey, thank you for joining me.
No problem. Quick thing. Did we agree as a society that it's okay to spoil Game of Thrones during and right after the episode? Because the memes were fucking right off the bat. It's like everyone's like, oh, no one better spoil it for me. Once you can make a fire meme, fuck it, let's go. Because I put like a spoiler tag on my vague comments just in case, and people are out here just putting scenes down. So, look out there.
It sounded like you were doing your campaign commercial.
No, it's
Have
like
we agreed as a society to spoil Game of Thrones?
it's like Teddy, which is
No, you got to be on it, man. Come on. Last season.
I can't do it. I feel bad because if I was in that situation, not everyone can watch the episode on time or right after. So
Yeah, while I was driving here, one of my friends was like, I finally watched the episode. And I was like, thanks for letting me know.
You just don't care about anything.
She doesn't listen to this.
that's a subscriber right there. What are you doing?
Imagine she's our #1 fan.
I get a text immediately after this goes up.
Somebody on Nerd Soup sounds suspiciously like you. All right, yeah, so we'll be back next week. I can't wait now. Now, after getting that first taste, this is going to be like the longest 5 weeks of my life.
I know. I can't count it down the seconds. And I said something similar on Twitter. It's just like every moment of these like next 5 weeks, you can't take it for granted because it's the last time we'll ever be doing this.
It feels so different, too, this time around.
Yeah, because it's just like, this is it.
All right, we'll be back, guys. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, share, or don't. Channel's being deleted in 5 weeks anyway.
6, we got the documentary.
Ah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I like that.